And boom. Hey everyone, how's it going? Sorry for a little bit of a late thing. I'm gonna be honest, I actually kind of got everything up and running about 2:05, but I just kind of want to give it a minute. I normally post something letting everyone know, hey, I'm getting on in a couple minutes, but never got to. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna get live, give people a minute to get situated. So if that was rude of me, I do apologize. I was trying to be nice. I guess it really didn't work, but welcome to the Core Hour. We're coming to you live from my sister's old bedroom right here in Richardson, Texas. Heads up, I know we did this last week. A reminder that I'm in the hot zone. It's pretty rough over here in Dallas, so I decided to stay low for a bit, and I've been broadcasting, basically doing everything known to man I could for the church from here in my house, and it's been fun just because of COVID-19. So thanks for tuning in. I know it's been every week. It's kind of been like four steps forward, one step backwards, trying to get used to running things up, and I appreciate everyone's patience, but it's gonna be a good time. Of course, as always, I'm excited to see you guys. Well, kind of. I know you're out there. Can't really see or hear, but I know you guys are out there for sure. So, real quick, first things first. Kind of cool thing happened last. Y'all know last week. Your parents may know this. I contacted quite a few of y'all's parents for y'all tuning in, trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to get this platform up and running for you guys? How are we gonna do it? Really wasn't quite sure the direction to go, but it's talking to a lot of y'all's parents. Pretty much 90% of them mentioned, hey, we're doing something with Legos, which is kind of a cool thing. I'm like, all right, I kind of curious to see what's going on here. So as y'all remember last week, I said, hey, send me what you guys are doing. I want to see what it is. And I got quite a few submissions, actually. I was pretty impressed. So we got a couple things to show you guys. So for first things first, coming from the girls' side of things, we have Ruby sent in this bad boy right here. Looks like we have some kind of smaller version of the Batmobile. We got Batman in it, and we also got Batman also chilling in a pool over here as well. No lie, that is my summer right there. Like, that is it. As soon as this whole thing blows over, ready to go back inside the pool and just hang out, have a good time. That's what it is. So that was sent in by Ruby. She's representing the girls' side of things. Uh, so we have in the back over there. I can't quite tell what that is. We got one of the Ninjago guys riding on the top of it. So very creative, very awesome looking. So that was pretty neat. So thank you, Ruby, for sending that in. Appreciate that. One more thing we did get, I did get that. It was pretty neat actually as well. We got a full-on stop motion movie actually. That caught me a little off guard in a cool way. So we actually have this coming in from Josh Ream. He sent this, and this is kind of a project he does. So let me pull up the window. There we go. This is something he does.
This looks cool. Let me go over here. First off, I think I need to go get some wood for my tree. Look, flower. Takes forever. Need tree.
I would love to keep going forward with that one, but I got a little message that says, hey, we're going a little hot on this, so let's tone it down a bit, because, computers, they're great, can't live with them, can't live without them, they're awesome. But, looking at that, that was good work from both Ruby and Josh on the creative side, trying to kill a little bit of time when we're locked in COVID. Art's always, of course, I'm an arts guy, of course, I'm going to say is art's a great way to, work your mind, keep yourself fresh, keep yourself busy without doing all sorts of things and getting yourself in trouble. I don't know if y'all could hear. There's also voiceover in that. I don't know if y'all were able to hear that in there. If someone could comment that they were able to hear the voiceover coming in from the video that Josh sent in. That's actually on YouTube. That is his personal page, King James. It's a series he does. This morning I actually had the blessing and the privilege of being able to talk to Josh earlier today about some of that. So I was actually able to pull that up. I was actually able to record that. So let's tune in to hear my little discussion with Josh Ream this morning on his project. Josh, Josh, hey there, Josh. Here, dude. How long were you back there?
I actually was yeah.
Tell, tell Steve, not, you know what? If he a negative influence on you, you can't just scare people like that. Hang on, give me a minute. Hang on. Gotta warn someone before you do things like that, man.
Okay.
Jeez. Okay, don't worry. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm good. All right. So, other than that, how are you this morning?
I'm good.
How you doing in the quarantine and everything?
Okay.
Glad to hear. You know, surviving okay.
Yes.
Cool. So, you know, of course, I asked this for a lot of people, but I think I already know the answer for you. So, what have you been doing to entertain yourself lately? But, you know, rumor has it that you're kind of a filmmaker. Not even a rumor mill, more like confirmed.
Despicable, yes. Then 2 episodes. And to answer your question, I've been playing Monopoly with my sister. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, tell us a little more about the film stuff, man. Tell us a little more about it. It's called Lego Minecraft Adventures. Is that right?
Right. Yes.
All right. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that. Sorry about that, guys. I can just tell from the stream it really wasn't going very well. It was trying to, I'm gonna give it one more try. Let's see if maybe I can load it a little bit more. Give it one more go. Maybe we can try that one more time. Let's see. Sorry about that because I can just hear the echo and it just wasn't very good. Josh, Josh, Josh. Hey there, Josh. Here, dude. How long were you back there?
I actually was over there. So, it's my friend Steve. So, yeah.
Tell Steve not. You know what? Is he a negative influence on you? You can't just scare people like that. Hang on, give me a minute. Hang on. Gotta warn someone before you do things like that, man.
Okay.
Jeez. Okay, don't worry. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm good. All right. So, other than that, how are you this morning?
I'm good.
How you doing in the quarantine and everything?
Okay.
Glad to hear. You know, surviving okay.
Yes.
Cool. So, of course, I asked this for a lot of people, but I think I already know the answer for you. So, what have you been? Yeah, kind of same problem still going on. My apologies, everybody. That is kind of annoying. I tested it out right beforehand. Seemed to work fine. My apologies to Josh, of course. I know he was kind of tuning in on that. One more shout out I do got to give out, of course. I actually attempted this yesterday with Abby Overby. Same thing. I tried to do an interview with her, and hers. I was actually, we had a lot of audio stuff going on with that as well, and I just wasn't able to do that. But I just want to give her total props because she was extremely patient during the whole time. She was nice. She's even at one point tried to redo it because of there was just, of course, recording FaceTime conversations is not as easy as it should be. I'm just gonna be honest in case those y'all didn't know that. So I just want to give a shout out to Abby because she was awesome. She was real patient during the whole time, and she didn't make fun of me. And that's kind of she really had every reason to. I know I would if I were her. So thanks Abby for that. Appreciate your patience. Sorry to Josh as well because of course figures right after I hung up with Abby, I did a little more googling and found a new thing. Was really embarrassed to call her back a third time to try to see if I can get that to work. So I was gonna try to make it up her one way or another, and then met with Josh this morning and was able to get some of his down. But I'm actually just gonna go ahead. I actually still have the questions. I asked both of them. Pretty good series of questions, and I think you guys can really help out with that. Maybe you can kind of give your opinion on that. I'd actually, yeah, let's do that. Let's kind of make this a game in the comments, of course, unless you're both still there. One thing I did ask both of them, of course, was who would win in a wrestling match, a taco or a hamburger? Now, ironically, both of them kind of had different answers, actually. Abby said a hamburger would win. She said it would be a hamburger because taco has a soft shell, and it doesn't take much to kind of break through that soft shell. However, Josh mentioned a taco would probably win because the taco has spices and a hamburger does not. So that's kind of, an iffy one here and there. I mean, agree or disagree. Hey, this is kind of a lot like that game that we play in the core a lot. Who would win in a fight? This is exactly that one. Abby was defending the hamburger. Josh was saying the taco would win. I think we can go ahead and let you guys decide in the comments maybe who would actually win in that fight. Like I said, Josh thinks the spices are a big breaking factor in there. He says, no, the burger doesn't have spices, so that's really not going to work. However, Abby thinks, oh no, taco has that soft shell. Really doesn't take much to break through that. It's really kind of sensitive. So I'll let you guys really think about that. Feel free to comment on that below. Who would win? I think that is a wrestling match for the ages people would wonder about, of course. Another one that this was kind of funny thinking about it. I asked both of them, is a hot dog considered a sandwich? What do they think? Ironically, this is one, feel free to comment. Both of them said no very quickly in a heartbeat. Both of them said no, it is not. I think the most compelling argument I think brought from Josh was that both had, a sandwich needs 2 slices of bread, a hot dog is just one. I tried to fight the guy, being like, hey, what about those few people that cheat and kind of put it together like that? No, but feel free to describe that. What do y'all think? Is a hot dog actually considered a sandwich? That is something I was wondering about when I asked both of them this. And believe it or not, both of them, like I said, they're both staying really busy. I wanted to talk more about it, but like I said, the video just would not load at all. Believe it or not, Josh, like I said, he has that whole series on YouTube, actually, what he's been doing during this whole COVID thing going on. Check out his channel, King James. He has a whole season going on as well. It is Lego Minecraft. Considering that kid was able to get that up and running with stop motion, and here I've been struggling just to get these videos up. That is some awesome work on his hand. And Abby is actually working on an EP, believe it or not. That is something she's been doing. She bought a microphone, been writing all these pretty neat songs. She wouldn't show me any of them, believe it or not. I was a little disappointed by that. But she has apparently, that's something else, one of the first things she said when I brought that up. So give me a sec. I'm just going to go through my notes really quick. So, like I said, sorry I couldn't get that up and running. I really did try. I'm going to work with that next week as well to see maybe I can clean them up a little bit. Maybe I can actually, because I would like to show those actually really interesting. That is something I'd like to do from this point onward as we keep going through this. Yeah. As we keep doing this, if you're interested in being part of like a one-on-one funny interview with me where I'm going to ask you a lot of ridiculous questions like that, please email at students@fellowshipforney.org. Please email if you'd like to take part in that. We can go ahead and arrange it, whether it be Skype, FaceTime, so on and so forth. There's actually going to be a little challenge with it. Abby impressed me. I said, hey, if I picked a number between 1 and 1,000, how many guesses would it take for you to get it? Believe it or not, she did it in 2 guesses. I was honestly shocked. I really didn't think she would. She said 5 to 10, I can guess your number, and she did it in 2. Once again, when I get that video clip up and running to where it actually loads without me sounding like some kind of like da 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 like that, then we'll go ahead and do that. So another thing real quick, like I said, we did the Lego challenge last week. Y'all saw what Josh has been doing. Y'all saw what Ruby's been doing. They both kind of waited, so now I'm going to raise it a little bit more. A lot of you guys been doing a lot of board game stuff. Send me the clips of the board games y'all been doing. Send me the clips of you guys owning it against your family and friends. I know a lot of people have been doing that. I've been doing that with my friends, except it's a lot of like online stuff like this. So send it into the same email, students@fellowshipforney.org. Show us just pictures or videos of whatever board games that you're playing with your family and friends, and show us how you're kind of rocking and owning it. Please feel free to want to show that. And just like Ruby and Josh did this week, you're going to get bragging rights on that next week. I'll give a shout out and be like, hey, look at how they're doing it. So Ruby and Josh, y'all just raised the bar a little bit, guys. So some of y'all got some catching up you got to do. So it's going to be the challenge this week, board game week. Show me what you guys been got going on. So now that we had that, once again, so now that that's been done, let's see. Let's go ahead and just dive into today's lesson real quick. So I know it's been hearing me ranting a whole lot. So we're just going to go ahead and move forward then. I'm going to go take my hat off and pray. We'll get started. Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for this day and this time in which I know it seems we're all so far away and we can't really talk to each other, communicate, but we have the wonders of technology. I want to thank you for that, God. I want to thank you for the bonds of fellowship, because believe it or not, that's actually what we're going to be talking about today. I just want to thank, I pray that's going to be heavy on us as we move forward and we learn the importance of that. In your glorious name I pray. Amen. Alrighty. So, I know still rocking the Giants stuff. One day MLB season will come back. I'm ready for it. So something I was thinking about when we got this up, when I was planning this week's lesson, is I was really thinking a lot about really good friends that we might have. I want y'all to really think about it. What really, y'all, I'm sure everybody here has that go-to person they have. Everybody has that one who they always rely on. What makes them such a good friend to you? Really think about what makes them something that you always turn to. What makes them so, you're my go-to guy? And give y'all a second to really think about it. Something I'm really serious. I'd like you guys to think, what makes this person so reliable to me? I'm gonna be honest, I have one friend, well actually I have multiple friends like this, but this one I think it's just easier to describe, is that he's pretty much a dude I can just go to for just about anything going on. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm going to go to him because he's a listening ear. No, it's actually not. Sometimes I feel like he's not always that. But I go to this guy as my bro. I choose that word very carefully. He's that one friend I go to because he is a God-honest believer. He is a very God-loving man who is very rooted in the scripture. I know whatever I have going on, when I go to him, he won't just tell me things, oh, well, try this. And now every opinion, belief, or advice he has is rooted in scripture. So he's always turning to that. He's always trying to give, okay, let's turn to this Bible verse. Let's walk through it together. He is that kind of friend. He's the kind of friend where he will sometimes tell me the hard things. He will hurt my feelings if he has to keep me in line. And it's the same thing I do to him. In fact, this same friend and I, we have an agreement. We both used to work this camp together, and we were serving together at a church. And part of what we have to do is called Super Summer. Some of y'all, when you get older, will be doing it, or some of the older Harvard kids are going this summer. Part of what Super Summer is you have to interview just to go. Like, you have to meet with your youth pastor, and basically he has to determine, okay, where are you spiritually? Is this a good camp for you? But he doesn't just do it with the students. He does that with the volunteers who are going as well. He has to do it with everybody. And what I like about, I think that's a great thing to do. I think it's a good self-reflection for you yourself, makes you think. I think it's a great thing to do. But with he and I, we have an agreement to be brutally honest. And once again, that goes back to, let's not, if I have to hurt my friend to do that, I will. We both love this camp. We think it's awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of work and it's exhausting. Can't volunteer. You're the first one awake and last one in bed. But we look forward to it. It's the highlight of our year. And something he and I both agree is that if something's going on in our lives to where we feel like we cannot go, if something is eating at us or if we're not right with the Lord, we have full right to sign that sheet that says this person should not be serving this summer. Even if it's something small. Something that's just what we do. We believe in that. And he knows that with me, and I know that with him. That is a spoken agreement that we have. That if let's say I'm acting up or I'm not doing something I should be doing, I'm not involved in my quiet time much, I'm not praying as much as I should be, and I'm hanging out with people I shouldn't be doing and doing things or shouldn't be hanging out with and doing things I should be doing, neglecting my work. Back then I was in college, neglecting my school studies. He had every right to write on the sheet that said my name, and he goes like, do not use him. He is not ready to go. And just from that, he did it. Like, as we were both we were both in kind of charge of the youth program at the time. We both, if we wrote that was basically it. There wasn't, no, let's review it. No, if we wrote, he's not ready to go, we weren't going. It was that simple. We gave each other that much power. But we did it because we cared for each other so much that we'd rather keep them from hurting themselves. In other words, we'd rather be harsh on them so they understand, okay, this is something I need to take a step back on, because I'd rather not. Basically, it's hypocritical. There, I'm overthinking it. It's the word. It is hypocritical to go out there and serve and do these things and do all that. It is not good. We care about him so much that I care about my buddy so much that I'm willing to say if he's wrong, do not go serve. Do not do this. Do not even touch that until you get right with God, because I want you to be in a place where you're not just saying it, you are preaching it. You are walking and talking it. Because, of course, one thing, God is not like that. God is not a fan of that kind of thing. If you are just walking but not believing yourself, that is something he will call you out for, and that is very devastating. And I care about my buddy so much that I do not want him to go through it, so I'm willing to hurt him now to help secure things in the long run. That is an in writing thing. That is something we do. It goes back to Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron, one person sharpens another. That is the whole idea of what we're doing at Fellowship. Growing together, spending time together. I mean, all you guys, I know this whole COVID thing, we're all spending time at home, has been such a challenge because we cannot see each other on a regular basis. We cannot hang out. It's not as easy that. In fact, for me, I'm going to be honest, I am freaking out a little bit during this whole time because I'm not really a social media person. I don't really do that kind of stuff. I do it, mainly talk to y'all's parents, but if y'all actually really look, I don't really get involved in that because I'm a better face to face person. I like that. And I'm at a point where that's really all I have and I really need to bank on that. I really need to take advantage on that. Ironically, I've been more social than I have been the last couple of years because it's a lot easier, but it's not the same to me and I've really been struggling with that. But I think it's perfect timing that this lesson landed here because of the situation, where because it's not as easy to reach out to others. I think that's super. I think, of course, that's only a God thing. That's kind of the amazing part about His plan. We've got this curriculum. Had this whole calendar planned out probably way back in August, and we just happened to land today on that. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into it. Real quick before I begin, this message is brought to you by Gris Burgers. Just kidding, it's not an actual one, but I went there for lunch today. It's amazing. So, diving into it. Last couple of weeks we've been going through 1 Samuel. We're talking about David. First we talked about King Saul, and we got into David, how David was anointed because Saul was disobedient. And then, of course, we had the world-famous showdown, David versus Goliath. I know y'all can't see my hands. David versus Goliath, in which everyone kind of doubted David because he was small, he was young, he was a kid. All he had was a rock and a sling. Goliath was a giant. He was over 9 feet tall. His armor weighed over 120 pounds. And even when David was offered the armor of King Saul, David didn't take it because he's no, I do not need it. It's not tested. This isn't for me. I don't know how to do this. I'm going to stick to what I know, which is what God will get care of the rest. He's like, I didn't know much, but I knew God would take care of me. That much I did know. And he went in and he just went to town with that sling, slayed Goliath, and went into King Saul's service after that. So I didn't actually mention this last week when I was going through the verses, but right after that, King Saul wanted to have a conversation with David about that. He wanted to say, who are you? Where you're from? Got to know him. And that's where he first hear about Jonathan. Jonathan is King Saul's oldest son. Now, for those of you guys, hopefully y'all know this, when it comes to royalty, obviously, who's the next heir? The prince. Normally princess, but right now we're talking or prince or princess, but it's Jonathan. He's firstborn. He's the firstborn son of Saul. He is known to be heir to the throne at this point. And everyone kind of knew, obviously you know that. That's general knowledge. Everybody knows that when the king dies, the prince or princess takes over. They're the next heir to the throne. So Jonathan's the heir. The whole kingdom knows it. Saul knows it. David knows it. Jonathan just kind of like, okay, when my time comes, my time comes. But then no one expected David to step into the picture. But right after David killed Goliath, right after David's meeting with Saul, that's when David met Jonathan. And they really hit it off. That's the best way to describe it, is that from the moment that Jonathan met David, he felt something different about him. Became attached to him like a brother at that moment. I'm going to turn my hat backwards real quick. But just felt attached to him. According to what Scripture said, actually it's in 1 Samuel 18, verses 3 and 4. Then Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was on him and gave it to David, and gave him his armor and his sword and his bow and his belt. So, it's not just an old shirt that he gave him, guys. This is his royal robe. As we've talked, I've talked with another group actually. They had robes that signified their statuses. And Jonathan had one that said, this is royalty, and he gave it to David. He let David, and then he also gave him his armor and a sword. This is stuff that he was going to be using probably most of his life, and he gave it to David because he loved him as his own soul. That meant he cared for him in a way that he also cared for himself. That is a very selfless description. In English, that basically means I care for him as much as himself. That's basically what I just said right there. I'm reiterating, but that is a very selfless description. I mean, I'm the kind of person where, yeah, majority of what I wear is like t-shirts from different camps I go to, but even those I don't share. Even though I own sweaters, I don't like to share those at all. That's just me. I'm a very selfish person. That's my stuff. What if someone ruins it? I paid good money for my clothes. What if someone ruins it? And then that's just, stuff I get at camp. This is a royal robe made specifically for Jonathan, and he is willing to let this shepherd boy that he just met wear it. He's giving it to him. He said, "This is yours. Have it." Because of that. That that is beyond what I am capable of doing as a human being. So, as a lot of time passed, David became great, obviously. In the service of Saul, everywhere Saul sent him, David was successful. He was just great. And during this time, that friendship between David and Jonathan just grew. They really grew to love each other in a good brotherly way. They were supportive of each other. Saul, on the other hand, King Saul, Jonathan's father, wasn't quite as much of a fan. In fact, in Scripture, of course, says in verse 7 of chapter 18, the people, when they would come in, when King Saul and David would come in after conquest, the people would sing as they come in, Saul has struck down his thousands, but David tens of thousands. The people loved David for how great he was. Saul got a little jealous of that. In fact, yeah, he really did. I mean, that says it all right there. People were dancing and singing for David more than they were for Saul, and Saul's the king. Saul knew he was the king. He knew he was God's anointed king, yet people were looking at David because of how great he was. Now, this is something I kind of never really thought about until recently when planning this, is that Jonathan was there for all of this. As the firstborn, he was always, he's the prince, he's right next to Saul. He had to have heard those songs that people were singing about his dad, and they were also singing about David. He had to have heard him say Saul kills 1,000, but David 10,000. He had to have been exposed to all of this. He knew the people loved David. Where's Jonathan mentioned in any of those? He wasn't. People didn't even talk about the next heir to the throne. Like at that, it comes back to that whole popularity thing we talked about way back in week 1, or when he looked at Saul and he looked like a king. He's big, he's tall. We need him. It kind of goes back to that. People were looking at David because he was starting to look the part that they really wanted in a king, and on top of that, he was a man after God's own heart. Jonathan had to realize that the people wanted him more, or more than David, more as a king. But never once did it really cause him to look down on him. Never once did it be like, oh no, I don't want any part of this. No, he always still looked at it as a brother. He made that commitment when they first met. He's like, I'm going to look after you. We're going to be friends. That's what we're going to be. Jonathan held his word to that because he is a godly man. He never held it against him. But then, of course, that's when the friendship was really kind of put to the test. In chapter 19, Saul kind of has it up to here. Well, here, so you can't see it, it's above me. He kind of had it up to here with what was going on. He really had it. He got his servants together and he got Jonathan together, and he goes, hey guys, we're going to kill David. We're going to find a way how to do it. That's actually verse 19 to verse 1. Saul told to Jonathan and his son and all his servants they should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted much in David. So as Jonathan is listening to Saul talk about, okay, we're going to go ahead and kill David. Despite everything, we're going to go ahead and kill him. Jonathan wasn't okay with it. He's like, hold on, whoa, Dad. But this is my best bro we're talking about here. This is my, we can't just do that. Hold on. This really isn't right. So Jonathan begins defending David. And then what's he do after that? He goes behind his dad's back and he warns David about the plot to kill him. He goes back and talks to him. He says, look, Saul's looking to kill you, dude. Like, I hate to break it to you, but it's not looking good. And yeah, that's what he does. But that's where John's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to divert this in a different way. I'm sure there's something wrong here. So in 19 verse 3 it says, I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where you are, and I will speak to my father about you, and if I learn anything, I will tell you about it. So, like I said, that's going against his dad. Jonathan, being the godly man he is, can see that David is good, and he's going to honor the commitment that he said before that. Despite Saul wanting to kill him, Jonathan still looked for Saul and reminded him of it. Despite Saul's pure intention of like, oh, I want to kill him and want to honor him, Jonathan being godly, level-headed, he's like, you know what, I gotta go ahead, I'm gonna try to fix this because I don't want to lose my bro, but I want to honor my dad. I don't want my dad to go down the wrong path here because David's innocent. So that's where it says in verses 4 and 5, verse 19, Let not the king sin against his servant David. This is Jonathan talking to Saul. Let not the king sin against his servant David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his deeds have brought good joy. For he took his life in his hand, and he struck down the Philistine, referring to Goliath, struck down the Philistine, and the Lord worked a great salvation for all Israel. You saw it and rejoiced. Why then will you sin against innocent blood by killing David without cause? Notice he said without cause. He said, will you spill innocent blood without cause? That's saying David does not deserve it. Everybody knew it. He's reminding Saul, look at everything that David did. We've been going through Isaiah a lot in the Sunday Bible study, and one thing, a recurring theme I'm hearing is when things are going south, we always got to step back and remember all the good God did, and that's sort of the approach that Jonathan is taking. He's reminding me, he says, hey, this is the approach that, or no, words. This is kind of the approach that Jonathan is taking. He's sitting down with Saul and said, look at all the good David has done. He killed Goliath. He has done everything you've asked of him. He has been great to us. It is not good. He is innocent. And this will look bad on you if you kill him. This will look bad on you, Dad. You. Not me. You. And you know what's weird about that is that when you look at Jonathan's position, he probably, like I said, he realized that people probably wanted David as king. At this moment, he probably could have stepped back. He probably could have been like, you know what? I want the throne for myself. Saul, you do you. Whatever happens, happens. Because if whatever happens, happens, then I won't be the king one day. It's like, this man is a threat to my kingdom. He's like, I want it. That's the approach he could have taken. He could have just turned him in. In fact, he could have been like, you know what, David, sit here. I'm going to go talk to Saul. And he could have gone to Saul and be like, hey, Dad, David's over there. Do what you have to do. But his friendship meant so much to him that he was willing to put David above his future throne. That's what he was willing to do. He cared so much about him. He's like, nope, I'm going to put this first because I care more about my friend and more about what we can do together and the good relationship he has with me over my throne. That is what he did. Despite the wishes of his ungodly father, Jonathan put honor on David by putting him first. That's something we were talking about. That's kind of the theme for this whole week. We're talking about putting honor above others. Putting honor on others before us. How to do that. Jonathan is a great example of that. Because especially when he's caught in the turmoil between his dad and David, he is trying to look out for both. He's like, no, I want David to be okay, but I don't want my dad to go down this path. That's why he talked to him and says, Dad, don't do this. This isn't good. And then on top of that, he's still protecting David when he could just kind of throw him to the wolves so he can get the throne. He goes, no, I care so much about it. I'm going to put my throne above this because David is that much of a good friend of mine. I think we all wish we could have a friend like that. I think we all kind of need that. Someone who could defend us, even if it really doesn't help us, just to help us build us up. You know, a friend who's willing to go out of the way for us, willing to drop everything to do that. Kind of like, like I said, me and my friend, that's one of those things where that camp going, we love serving together. But I'm willing to tell him, and he's willing to tell the same thing to me. Hey, man, you should not do that. That's called accountability. That's what that is. And I know, and I think especially when you look at kind of the situation we're in right now, where we're all, like I said, separate, this scripture is such a good reminder, or his story is such a good reminder of how important fellowship is. I mean, that's, I think, what makes our church, Fellowship Church, so good, is that we're so good at being with each other. That's why we have the A2 groups. I see it every Sunday. We all have our little groups that we go into. I have I go say hi to most of your parents if y'all are around. Of course, say hi to the staff as well. We all have a family, a fellowship, and I think that's kind of how it should be. That we're supposed to be one giant body of believers. And I feel like right now this COVID thing is really challenging us in a way in which we haven't. So like we're having to find that alternative. In fact, it's not just the same. Like I said, I've been struggling with this. I have been struggling. Okay, how am I going to do this? I have been out more. I've been more social than I have been in years, but it's all been over my phone, over the computer, over some form of digital media, and I have to work at it. I have to really push to do it because it's not the same as just seeing each other every Wednesday or Sunday. Now we have to put twice as much effort in to spend time with each other because of the format we're in, because of it. And as much as I hate to be that guy, this doesn't look like it's ending next week. This might be another couple weeks of this. But I think thinking back at the relationship with Jonathan and David, the relationship they have, and I think it's important for us to remind each other this is the stand we should be doing. This is how we have a good friend, putting each other first, or they're going to put me over them. Of course, not above God. God is still number one. But that is kind of what I'd like you guys to go home with today. Well, take back today, go home. That clearly does not make any sense. Obviously, we're already home. But that's something I really would like you guys to stick with for this time, is really think about, think about that. Think about how do I put honor my friends by putting them first, by putting them above what's important to me, and being willing to hurt them in a way if you have to. Like I said, putting them first. It's not fun being the bad guy. I hate having to tell my buddy or any of my friends when they're doing something and I need to be the voice of reason. I hate having to tell them, dude, you're stupid. Like I'll be the first to, yes, that's my word choice sometimes. Don't do that. I hate having to do that. But I care about my friends so much that sometimes we need to do that to them because it's what's good for them. I care so much about their walk. And that's something I want you guys to do, is put them first, even if it means sometimes being a little rough. Sometimes it means being a little abrasive if you have to because you care about them so much. Of course, within reason. I'm not telling you to be a giant jerk, but I'm telling you to put them first in a way to where it looks out for them. Just like Jonathan did. And he was in probably a really rough rough place in my opinion. Having to choose between loyalty to his dad and David, that's super hard, and I couldn't imagine what that's like. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop rambling for a night now. I'm gonna let you guys take that home for the day. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pray again, real quick. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and God, I pray that we all find somebody a good fellowship, friend, supporter, or whatever, just like Jonathan. Someone who's willing to put us first in our time of need. And I pray that we can follow the example of Jonathan, that we can put others before us, even if it's out of our own way, out of our own inconvenience. Put honor on them just like you'd like us to do. God, I pray that we can be that good friend who's accountable to help them grow whenever they need to. Celebrate them in the good times and cry with them in the bad times, but overall to help you. It's a friendship or relationship rooted in you in the middle. Just like Jonathan and David, God, I pray that we do that. And I pray that during this time when this is really easy to say to do it because we're so far from each other and we're so distant, we're not quite sure how to talk to each other, I pray that we are able to overcome that. God, I pray that we find the way and we're able to put in the time and effort to maintain the fellowship that we have with each other during this time, God. I pray that it's not even that big of a deal. And that way, yeah, it's going to be hard, but when we finally reunite, when this whole thing ends, it's just that much more joyous, God. I just thank you for that. I thank you for these students who are tuning in now, or if they're watching later on. I just want to thank you for them and how awesome and great they are, God. And I pray that they can learn how to do that, especially at a time where we're so far. In your glorious name, I pray. Amen. Alright, guys, so just a couple quick things real quick. You know me, I always got to have the final word on everything. Just a reminder, we are starting up 5th and 6th grade discipleship groups. I know some of you guys are in there. I saw some of your names. It's going to be on Google Hangout. It's going to be just like Sunday mornings. This is going to be Kara and Courtney going to be doing Sunday girls. We got AJ and Eric who's going to be doing Sunday boys. Get in there. If y'all have any, if y'all haven't got that, please let me know. Reach out to me on my email, mike@fellowship40.org, or let me know in the comments. Blake and I will be sure to make it happen to get you guys connected so we get you guys in the group. Because like I said, we're really trying to keep everyone together for the most part. Really trying to still keep us in there. The groups are not going to be every Sunday. Of course, we're still having Sunday morning Bible study that Blake does, but it's going to be probably in our own time whenever Kara and AJ and all of them, everyone can kind of work, figure it out. We'll post everything. We'll get you guys going, but it's going to be over Google Hangout. We'll get you guys connected. It's going to be sometime during the week. Just a good way for us to spend time with each other face to face and not just me rambling. All right, guys, so that'll be it for today. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Definitely will see you guys. Well, we'll be talking pretty soon. Thanks, everyone. Y'all take care. God bless.